This is the story of an extraordinary man who built his dream home. It was the work of a lifetime.
Up in the hills, away from the main roads, you can just make out Haute-Rive. This rural village was made famous by an incredible monument built by one of its inhabitants at the end of the 19th century, postman Ferdinand Cheval's ideal palace.
We are standing in front of the Palais Idéal. It is the work of a postman, and it took 33 years to build. Joseph Ferdinand Cheval took 33 years to build this place. There is no other work like it. This is the story of an extraordinary man who built his dream home. It was the work of a lifetime.
Like Ferdinand Cheval, Raphaëlle Lambert lives in Haute-Rive. She has made a career out of her passion, introducing people to this masterpiece of naive art.
It's a magical, wonderful place. This building didn't used to get many visitors. The postman was taken for a fool. For a long time, this was thought to be the work of the village idiot. Personally, I've always seen this man as a genius, and not as an idiot, because in order to build this palace, he had to be cultured and knowledgeable. He was neither a stonemason nor an architect, and yet he built a palace which has stood the test of time. So yes, he was a great man.
The son of a farmer, Ferdinand Cheval never left the Drôme region where he was born. And yet his palace is a celebration of exoticism, a cross between a Hindu temple, an Arabic mosque, the Virgin's grotto, and an Egyptian tomb.
The stones are yellow, the colour of sand. It recalls nature, in particular, the sandy beaches on the shores of the Galore River.
It was during his daily rounds that the postman came up with the idea of building his palace. His imagination was no doubt inspired by the postcards and illustrated journals that appeared at that time.
When I walk along the river in the surrounding countryside, I try to imagine what was in the postman's imagination. The landscape here must surely have influenced him in his imaginings, because he recreated some of the natural elements he saw on his daily rounds in his ideal palace. While he walked, he must have been looking down at the ground, because the idea for his palace was triggered by a stone he discovered in April 1879. He tripped over this stone, and then he noticed that there were lots of other similar stones around. So he started collecting them and taking them back to his garden. That's how it all started, with the discovery of a beautiful stone on a path he took on his rounds.
For 3 decades, the postman devoted all of his spare time to building his dream palace from scratch. Despite the lack of plan or architectural know-how, he still managed to complete this tour de force. After his death in 1924, the Palais Idéal gradually sank into oblivion. The building deteriorated and was in danger of collapsing. It was saved by André Malraux, who made it a listed building in 1969. Pierre Constant started working on its restoration in the 1980s. It was a challenge for this stonecutter, who was used to more conventional works of architecture.
We had to adopt the mindset of an artist, Ferdinand Cheval, and restore his work as if we were restoring a statue by a great sculptor. This was a work of art, created by another artist, and putting ourselves in his shoes was difficult. With restoration work, there are usually established protocols to follow, but that wasn't possible here. We had to make it up as we went along. I think we were on the right track, although we went a bit too far, perhaps, when we reconstructed certain things like this dog here. The dog was restored from scratch. We found all the pieces in the ditch and put them back together again. We remodeled the head from a photograph. That was taking liberties, I suppose, but I think it's true to the original, based on the photographs we had. There is this abundance of shells, which meant that we had to eat more cockles and mussels than usual, because we had to stick them all over the place. I think he got them from a relative who worked in the restaurant trade and sent him parcels containing empty shells.
The Palais Idéal owes its name to the writings of a young poet who visited the monument in 1904. Ferdinand Cheval had previously named it Imaginary Palace, the only one in the world.
This marvel, which does its creator proud, will be unique in the world. So he was extremely humble, but at times he had these crazy delusions bordering on vanity. For example, he said to visitors, "If you want to know who I am, don't look at me, look at my palace. That's me. It's all there." I had to look at the palace because I was working on it. And without me seeking it, the palace informed me about his personality and his innermost thoughts. But he's not someone I could imagine going for a drink with after work. No. There was still a distance between us, between his palace on the one hand and its restorer on the other.
The restorer discovered that an ordinary man could devote his life to creating a truly unique work. But Cheval didn't stop there. Since he wasn't allowed to be buried under his palace, he spent his final years erecting a tomb for himself at the entrance to the graveyard in Hauterive, using the same yellow stone and the same self-taught methods, his trademark.